My child. Welcome to the Spiritual Truth Channel, where we dive into the wisdom, comfort, and strength that comes from understanding God's divine plan for each one of us. If you're new here, I encourage you to subscribe and turn on your notifications so you never miss a message that speaks directly to your heart. You are not here by accident, and I believe this message is meant for you today. Before we begin, I'd love for you to comment below with the words "I believe." Let this be a declaration of your trust in God's purpose for your life. And remember, no matter where you are, no matter what you are going through, your faith is powerful. So go ahead, type "I believe," and let us share this moment together. Life often feels like a journey filled with questions, doubts, and even fears. We wonder why things happen the way they do, and sometimes we struggle with trusting the process. But today, I want to remind you that there is a divine plan unfolding for you, a plan that is far greater than you can understand right now. All you need to do is trust. Trust that God, in His infinite wisdom, is guiding you with love, purpose, and a plan that is perfect for your life. And I know, this might not always be easy, especially when the road is unclear or difficult. But in moments like these, the Bible reminds us over and over that God's plan is always for our good. God's plan is not something we can always see in the moment. It's a path that often requires faith, even when we can't see the full picture. But I want you to know this: His plan for you is filled with love, peace, and abundance. It's a plan that leads to a life that is rich in purpose, joy, and fulfillment. Sometimes, the road may seem hard, but the beauty of this journey is that you are never alone. The Bible reminds us in Proverbs 3 verses 5 to 6, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your paths straight." My beloved child, these words are not just advice, they are a promise. When you trust God fully, when you let go of your need to control every detail and simply allow Him to guide you, He will lead you exactly where you need to go. It might not always be where you thought you were going, but it will always be where you were meant to be. Sometimes, the most difficult part of trusting God's plan is trusting His timing. You may feel like things are moving too slowly, or perhaps you feel that you are stuck. But in Isaiah 55 verses 8 to 9, God reminds us, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways and my thoughts than your thoughts." My beloved, God's timing is perfect. His perspective is far beyond what we can see. What might seem like a delay to us is often a divine intervention, preparing us for something far greater than we can imagine. So when you're feeling uncertain or impatient, trust that God's plan is unfolding in the perfect way, at the perfect time. Remember, God sees the whole picture. He knows what you need and when you need it. In Jeremiah 29 verse 11, He says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans for welfare and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope." The Lord has already prepared everything for you, and even when things don't make sense, He is working everything out for your good. It's easy to think that things are falling apart when life doesn't go as planned. You might be asking yourself, "Why me? Why this?" But know this: God's plan is always for your good. In Romans 8 verse 28, we are assured, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose." Even in moments of hardship, God is shaping you, refining you, and leading you closer to His purpose for your life. The trials you face are not meaningless. They are stepping stones, moments of growth, and tools He uses to mold you into the person He's always known you to be. When the storms of life seem overwhelming, when the world feels like it's crashing down around you, remember the promise found in Isaiah 41 verse 10. "So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." God is with you every step of the way. He will give you strength when you feel weak, peace when you feel anxious, and wisdom when you are uncertain. Trust His plan, because it's a plan that is for your good, even when you cannot see it clearly. To fully trust God's plan, there comes a moment when you must surrender your will to His. This doesn't mean giving up on your dreams or desires. It means trusting that God knows what's best for you, even more than you know for yourself. In Luke 22 verse 42, Jesus, in the most profound moment of surrender, prayed, "Father, if you are willing, take this cup from me, yet not my will, but yours be done." Jesus knew that God's will was the best for him, even though it meant walking a difficult path. When you surrender to God's will, you're not giving up, you're stepping into a place of peace. You're saying, "God, I trust you with my life. I trust you with my future." And in doing so, you open yourself up to the abundant life He has for you. Psalm 37 verse 4 reminds us, "Take delight in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart." When you trust God's plan, He aligns your heart with His, and you will see that His desires for your life are far greater than anything you could have planned for yourself. It's natural to want to know what's next. We crave certainty and clarity, but often, trusting God means stepping into the unknown. The journey might not always be clear, but the path is always guided. In 2 Corinthians 5 verse 7, the Bible says, "For we live by faith, not by sight." This is the essence of trusting God. It's about believing that He is in control, even when you cannot see the way forward. The unknown doesn't have to be scary. In fact, it's a beautiful opportunity to grow closer to God, to rely on Him more fully. It's a chance to watch Him work in ways you never could have imagined. Trust that He is guiding you through the unknown, and He will lead you to exactly where you need to be. Sometimes, fear can hold us back from trusting God fully. We are afraid of the unknown, afraid of failure, afraid of loss. But God is bigger than all of our fears. In 2 Timothy 1 verse 7, it is written, "For the Spirit God gave us does not make us timid, but gives us power, love, and self-discipline." My beloved child, the Spirit of God is within you, giving you the strength to face anything that comes your way. Fear is not from God. When you trust His plan, fear loses its grip on you, and you can step forward in boldness and confidence, knowing that God is with you. I understand that sometimes, as you walk through life, you may feel uncertain about your next steps. You may look around and see others moving ahead, seemingly effortlessly, while you feel stuck, unsure of where your own path leads. But know, my beloved, that this is exactly where trust becomes crucial. Trust in the process. Trust that God is at work even when you cannot see it. In Hebrews 11 verse 1, the Bible says, "Now faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see." Trusting in God means trusting even when things seem unclear, knowing that behind the scenes, He is working everything for your good. And just because you can't see it doesn't mean nothing is happening. God's timing often works in ways we can't fully comprehend. There are moments when He is preparing you for something greater, even if it means walking through some struggles. I know it's hard to see it that way when you're in the middle of it, but understand this, He's not leaving you to wander aimlessly. In fact, God is intimately involved in every part of your life, orchestrating things in ways you can't yet see, bringing you closer to your purpose. Take the story of Joseph in the Bible as a reminder of this truth. Joseph, sold by his brothers and cast into a pit, found himself in a place that seemed like a hopeless situation. But God had a plan for Joseph's life that no one could have imagined. In Genesis 50 verse 20, after all the trials, Joseph was able to say to his brothers, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives." What others meant for harm, God used for good. His plan for Joseph was greater than anything Joseph could have ever envisioned. And in the same way, the struggles you face are not meaningless. They are part of the divine plan that will lead you to a purpose far beyond what you can see in this moment. I know it's easy to feel discouraged in times of hardship. But remember this, God doesn't waste anything. Every moment of your life, every struggle, every tear, every setback, has meaning. God is using these moments to shape you into who you need to be for His glory. Just as He used Joseph's trials to position him for a future he could not yet understand, He is using your current situation to build you into the person He has called you to be. Sometimes, the best thing you can do is surrender your plans to God. This doesn't mean giving up on your dreams. It means acknowledging that God's plans are always greater than our own. It's about realizing that even though we might not always understand, we trust that He knows exactly what He's doing. In Proverbs 19 verse 21, it says, "Many are the plans in a person's heart, but it is the Lord's purpose that prevails." You may have your own ideas about what your future should look like, but God's purpose will always prevail. And His purpose for you is good, filled with hope, and filled with a future that you might not see yet, but one that He has prepared for you. The beauty of trusting God's plan is that it frees you from the burden of needing to control everything. You no longer have to figure out every detail. You can rest in the truth that God is in control. And trust me, my beloved, when you finally release your hold on your own plans and allow God to take the lead, it brings a sense of peace that can't be found anywhere else. It's a peace that surpasses understanding. It's a peace that comes from knowing that God is in charge, and you are right where you need to be. You don't have to have everything figured out. In fact, God never asks you to have it all figured out on your own. He simply asks that you trust Him. In Psalm 46 verse 10, it says, "Be still, and know that I am God." In the stillness, in the surrender, in the letting go, you will find that God is guiding you, even when you can't see the next step. Trust that He knows the way. In the moments when life feels overwhelming, when you wonder how everything will work out, turn to the Lord. Draw near to Him, and you will find that He is your refuge. Psalm 34 verse 18 tells us, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." If your heart is heavy, if you are struggling, trust that God is near. He is with you in every moment, holding you, comforting you, and guiding you with love. And if you are feeling lost or unsure, know that it's okay. It's okay not to have all the answers right now. God doesn't expect you to be perfect. He simply asks that you trust Him, even in the uncertainty. In 1 Peter 5 verse 7, it says, "Cast all your anxiety on Him because He cares for you." Whatever is weighing on your heart, whatever fears or doubts you may have, place them in His hands. He cares for you deeply, and He is more than capable of carrying the burden for you. Let Him guide you, let Him lead you, and trust that His plan is greater than anything you could have imagined. And in those moments when you feel like you've been waiting too long, when the answers don't come as quickly as you hoped, remember that God's timing is perfect. Just because something hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it's not on the way. God is never late. In Galatians 4 verse 4, it says, "But when the set time had fully come, God sent His Son, born of a woman, born under the law." God's timing is always precise. He knows the perfect moment to bring about His plan for your life. Trust that when the time is right, He will open the door for you. Even when you don't understand what's happening around you, or why certain things are taking place, know that God sees the big picture. He sees everything that is unfolding in your life, and He is using it all to fulfill His divine purpose for you. Even when the journey is hard, even when you can't see the way forward, remember that God is still with you, working behind the scenes. As Romans 8 verse 31 tells us, "If God is for us, who can be against us?" God's plan is unstoppable. His love for you is unshakable, and His purpose for your life will prevail. In times of uncertainty, hold fast to the promise that God is with you. He has not forgotten you. He has not abandoned you. You are not lost in His eyes. You are His beloved child, and He is guiding you, step by step, toward a future filled with hope. Trust His plan for your life, beloved. Trust His timing, His purpose, and His perfect love for you. He is leading you to a life that is more beautiful and fulfilling than you can imagine. Trust Him with everything you are. Allow His plan to unfold in your life, and watch as He works miracles through you, even when you don't see it coming. Finally, I want to remind you of the promises God has made to you. In Romans 10 verse 9, God says, "If you declare with your mouth, Jesus is Lord, and believe in your heart that God raised Him from the dead, you will be saved." This promise is not just for eternal salvation, it's a promise that God is with you every day of your life. He has a plan, and He will guide you every step of the way. You are not alone. You are not forgotten. God has a purpose for your life, and He is walking with you on this journey. Trust Him. Trust His plan. Even when the road is uncertain, know that He is leading you to a future filled with hope. If this message resonated with you, I encourage you to like this video and share it with others who may need to hear this message of hope and trust. Remember, my beloved child, that God's plan for you is perfect, and His timing is always right. Leave a comment below with the words "blessed and ready," declaring that you are ready to trust God's plan for your life. And don't forget to subscribe to the Spiritual Truth channel for more divine messages that will guide you on your spiritual journey. May God bless you and keep you, today and always.